What is your biggest fear? Many people say things like heights, spiders, or public speaking. But there are deeper fears we don't always talk about. Deep down, we often fear feeling awkward and being alone. We worry that no one likes us or that we have no friends. Many of us wonder, am I doing this right? Do people really like me? These questions can make us very anxious. In this video, we will explore how to overcome these fears and connect with others. Chapter 1. The first 90 seconds. The 90 seconds in the title means that people make their first impression of you in the first 90 seconds when they meet you. But what do they see when they decide? Studies show that first impressions are based on many things. People think about how smart, trustworthy, and successful you are. For example, if you wear nice clothes from famous brands, people might think you are more successful or popular. However, some things are not easy to control. We cannot change how we look when we are born. A study from Princeton University found that people with round, baby-like faces are often seen as more trustworthy. We also cannot change our gender, skin color, or whether we wear glasses. A study from the University of Toronto found that people think white, male, attractive speakers without glasses seem more powerful. Another study from Britain found that people think men and women with tattoos are less trustworthy and more aggressive. These studies show that first impressions are quick and often based on stereotypes. It is hard to change what others think about us, especially when it is not fair. But there are things we can do to make a good first impression. In the next chapter, we will look at these tips in detail. Chapter 2. Start with positive body language. Body language is often stronger than words, especially in the first 90 seconds when you meet someone. We can't change how people see us based on our looks, but we can use our body language to send the right message. First, let's talk about open and closed body language. You might not know these terms, but you can see them easily. For example, if you ask your teenage son about his video games and he folds his arms and rolls his eyes, he is showing closed body language. This means he is not open to talking. On the other hand, if your friend stands up to greet you with open arms and a big smile, he is showing open and friendly body language. Remember this when you meet someone new. Use your body to show you are open. Stand with your arms relaxed at your sides and face the other person. Leaning slightly toward them shows you are interested. This creates a friendly feeling and helps the other person feel comfortable. Next, make eye contact. But don't stare. Just look at them for a few seconds while smiling. This shows you see them and want to talk. Good eye contact can also make people think you are smart. A study from 2007 found that looking at someone while speaking helps people see you as intelligent. All these nonverbal cues help set a good tone before you even say anything. Now let's move on to talking. Many people worry about saying the wrong thing and feel awkward. Don't panic. Just keep it simple. Smile, say hi, how are you, and tell them your name. This is a great way to start a conversation. If you're worried about forgetting their name, repeat it right after they say it. For example, Allison. Great to meet you, Allison. You can even say something nice about their name or share a fun fact like, oh, my sister's name is Allison. Chapter 3. Moving beyond introductions. Let's say you did a great job with the introduction. You feel confident and the first impression went well. Now what? Many people get nervous here because they don't know what to talk about or worry they will say the wrong thing. This chapter will focus on how to build a good connection with others. A good connection is when people understand each other and communicate well. This is what you want when you meet someone new. So how do you create that connection? A natural connection often happens when you have something in common with the other person. For example, if you meet someone and find out you both have a mutual friend or go to the same gym, you can easily talk about that. Even if you don't have much in common, it can still feel like you do, which helps the conversation. But what if you don't have anything in common? You can still build a good connection, and it starts with your attitude. Many people think that shared interests are the most important part of a conversation, but your attitude matters even more. The author describes two types of attitudes: useful and useless. A useful attitude is positive. It means you think about what you want from the conversation. For example, you might think, I want to get to know this person, or I want help with my problem. On the other hand, a useless attitude focuses on what you don't want. If you are angry because your order is wrong at McDonald's and you yell at someone, you are not thinking about how they feel. You are only thinking about your anger. This is not a good way to communicate. If you use a useless attitude, you might yell at the manager and they may become upset too. You might not get what you want and you could ruin someone's day. So, what can you do instead? Even if someone does something wrong, being mean is not the best way. Try to have a useful attitude. Think about what you want from the conversation. For example, instead of thinking, I don't want my order to be wrong, think, I want help to fix my order. This way, you can be calm and kind. People are more likely to help you if you are nice to them. Remember to use the body language tips we talked about earlier to help too. Chapter 4: How to be a good conversationalist. Now that we talked about how to build connections during conflicts, let's look at how to build connections in normal situations. Nonverbal communication helps create a good first impression, but talking is also important. How can you be a good conversationalist? To start a conversation well, it's good to ask questions that let the other person talk. Experts say to use the 5 W's and an H. This means asking questions that begin with who, what, where, when, why, or how. These questions are great for starting conversations because they invite more discussion. For example, let's say you are at a community event, like a picnic in the park, and you meet someone new. You could use good body language and a positive attitude to start talking. You might say, what do you think of the food here? This question cannot be answered with just yes or no. It invites the other person to share more. When they tell you what they think, you can respond with something like, oh, that sounds good. I really like the sandwiches. This encourages the other person to share more, like saying they love a particular kind of sandwich or telling a funny story about a picnic they had before. This keeps the conversation friendly and flowing, which is what you want. Even if you don't like the same foods, you can still connect and enjoy talking. It's nice to have things in common, but it's not necessary for making friends. Many people who are different from each other still enjoy spending time together. You can also keep the conversation going by asking questions based on what the other person says. For example, if they say, I don't go out often, but I had a stressful day at work, so I thought I'd come here to relax. You can reply, oh, I know that feeling. What do you do for work? Showing interest in the other person is the best way to connect. It helps them see you in a positive way because everyone likes when others are nice and interested in what they say.